Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time out, a new effects-only version of the Helix from line 6. Let's get started. Today we're checking out the HX effects from line 6, which was introduced at Winter NAMM 2018 in Anaheim, California. The HX effects is an effects-only version of the Helix and the Helix LT, so it doesn't include the amp models, the speaker models, and the mic models, but it does include all the effects that are in those processors. So we have 100 HD effects, we have all of the legacy effects from the DL4, the MM4, and the other line 6 processors, so there's a ton of capability here for creating incredible tones, and you use this processor with your existing amplifier. You can use it in the effects loop in front of the amplifier, you could use it with another modeler in the studio, so it's a very versatile effects modeler that can also serve as a hub for your entire rig on stage. We have two different ways we can use the HX effects. We can use it in preset mode, where we have multiple effects all pre-programmed and we simply select those from the front panel. We have 128 different presets available, and those are arranged into 32 banks of 4. By stepping on the mode switch, we can switch to stomp box mode. Now in this case, you're operating basically like a standard pedal board. We have 6 individual effects here, and we can turn them on and off by simply stepping on the switches. The HX effects features 2 completely independent signal paths. We can have separate processors on each of those. We can split the signal coming in, so we can go through certain effects, split it into parallel, and come back together into mono or stereo. Or you can operate completely independent stereo signal paths if you prefer. In addition to its internal effects, the HX effects also allows you to connect 2 external stomp boxes. We have 2 loops that can be run in either mono, or the pair of them can be combined together into stereo. We have 2 control inputs. We could connect 2 different expression pedals to those, for example. But we can also use those as control outputs for channel switching on our amplifiers or for turning reverb on and off on an external amplifier. The HX effects can operate in mono or stereo, and the inputs and outputs can either be at instrument level or you can set them to line level. So you could use this with keyboards, we could use it in the studio, or of course you can use it with guitar and bass. MIDI input and output allows us to control external devices, and we can also control the HX effects using MIDI. And speaking of controlling the HX effects, we have a ton of control capability. Each of the switches can be assigned a number of different functions. We can control parameters, we can change switch settings, we can change all kinds of different things inside the unit or on external devices using MIDI or the internal programmability of the HX effects. It's really an incredible hub that allows you to take charge of all your other effects as well as your amplifiers, your entire stage rig. Working with the HX effects is very easy. Each of the switches is actually touch sensitive, so you can select things by just touching on a switch, or you press a switch to achieve a different function. We always have 3 control knobs available, and the big knob allows us to select different effects or to scroll through different parameters. Let's take a look at how easy it is to set up effects inside the HX effects. So we'll go to an empty preset here. Now we'll go into edit mode. This allows us to array our stomp boxes across the different slots inside the HX effects. To choose an effect, we simply turn the big knob. I've selected Minotaur, which is a Klon Centaur style overdrive. I can change the settings. I choose my next effect by touching the next foot switch. Now in this case, I want to add a delay, so I'll press the big knob. Scroll down to delays. Press big knob again, choose mono, and we'll choose modulated chorus echo. Now my parameters are available for editing here as well. We can access additional pages. And so on. Now we could add a reverb. Now at this point, I can save this all as a preset and instantly access all of it with one button press. Or we can use this in stomp box mode, where I simply turn the effects on and off as I need them. So we can completely bypass everything. And all we have is the clean tone of my custom shop Stratocaster going through a 57 twin. We can bring in the overdrive, turn on the reverb, and add delay. In this mode, it's operating exactly like a pedal board. To save this, I just hit the save switch, and now I can name the preset and save it to any slot that I like. I can just save, and we're ready to go. Go back to our preset mode. Here's one preset, and our preset that we just created. Now, if we go back to edit mode, we have other features available as well. So here we can look at our signal flow, for example. Here we can see our 3 blocks that we've loaded in, our overdrive, our delay, and our reverb. We can change the order of those here. We can name things, we can customize what the foot switches say as we step on them. All kinds of different things we can do here in this mode. If we go back, we can also assign controllers to each of the switches. Command Center lets us get really deep inside the programmability of the HX effects. Here you can see, for example, we have our expression pedals, our foot switches, and so on. Global settings allow us to work with our routing. We can choose which inputs, which outputs we're using if we want to do a 4-cable method, for example, if we have an amplifier that has an effects loop. In fact, with the stereo routing in this and the parallel paths, we could do a 7-cable setup where we use 2 effects loops and 2 separate amplifiers and get all kinds of crazy effects happening. This is also where we set up all our MIDI parameters and our MIDI control. We can customize the displays, set our preferences, so lots and lots of things we can do to dig deep inside the HX effects. But what I really like about it is how simple it is to operate right on the surface. You can get right in, easily create presets that are very usable, take them on stage, and get right to playing. When you're creating presets or setting up your pedal board, it's also very easy to copy blocks, move them around, paste them, clear them, customize them. So again, lots of depth here for getting in and creating exactly the sounds that you want. And of course we have tap tempo. If we touch the tap switch, we can access our preset settings and our tempos in BPM. One of the convenient features is, if the HX effects is on the floor, you can choose to edit it hands-free, so you can control things with your feet. Simply hold the mode switch, choose the effect you want, and now we can change values by pressing these 2 foot switches, change the parameter page by stepping here, and access the different parameters by choosing the one that we want. There's so much more to talk about with the HX effects, but what it really comes down to is it includes all those awesome sounding models from line 6. So you've got everything from the Helix inside this box. It's compact, controls your other external gear on stage, and gives you access to 2 different ways of operating. Choose to set up your presets or operate it like a regular pedal board. It's super simple to set up, super easy to edit, and it sounds great. Be sure to check this one out. I hope you've enjoyed this preview of Line 6's new HX effects. I'm really enjoying this box. It sounds great, and it integrates perfectly with my onstage rig. Thanks for joining me for Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, more amps, more effects, and we'll be making lots of music. I'm Mitch Gallagher.